Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I basically have like a doctorate in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah,
No,
I mean,
that's actually true.
It's very true. Yeah, it takes similar amount of time to get a black belt legitimately. I mean, there are people like that just buy them on Amazon. You could do that too.
Yeah. I didn't do that, dude.
You didn't get it from like a non-accredited university.
Nah, bro. It does not say Timu on it.
Hey, don't knock Timu, man.
I didn't get
There are
an
good deals to be
Amazon
had.
Basics black belt.
Amazon's pick.
Yeah. Most popular.
Probably Fuji.
Yeah. Damn,
was
diss
that?
them like that. He's just dissing Fuji. Oh,
Dude, nice diss, bro.
hell yeah. This guy's a disser. So for those who don't know, we've got Temp Nate in the room. So, I mean, you can't really replace Temp Ty.
No, actually, that's not true. I'm very replaceable.
And to be honest, like, we don't even want Temp Nate in the room, but he's here. So,
Guys,
Yeah, I know I'm temporary. It's all right.
Temp Nate went to Italy, and he came back with a Japanese matcha set.
yeah. That's
that
very
makes
awesome.
sense. Everybody buys those in Italy, right?
Yeah, that must be a big thing.
Pasta and matcha. What else is there?
Pasta and matcha.
Pasta and matcha.
Pistachio.
Gazpacho.
Pistachio.
Pistachio. All right, welcome to the Allground Pod. Hit it.
Oh. Yo. Welcome to the Allground Pod.
Yeah. Welcome to the Allground Pod.
Yo.
Welcome to the Allground Pod.
1, 2,
Yeah. Welcome to the
Nate can't
Allground
even hear
Pod.
this.
Welcome to the Allground Pod. Yeah. We're back
Welcome
at
to
the
the
Allground Pod. Back at the Allground Pod. Back at the Allground Pod. Back to the Allground Pod. Back to the Allground Pod. Yeah, back to the Allground Pod.
Nice.
Well, welcome
Okay.
to the Allground Pod.
Yeah, thanks. Can we get that guy out of here, Temtai?
Yeah, we'll cut
yeah,
that out.
Yeah. Nate's a white guy.
Don't give it away.
But well, yeah,
Shit,
you'll never
no.
know about me.
Yeah. Is Ty a white guy?
Yeah.
Who's Ty? I only know
What do you
Ty.
mean? It's,
Well, we're gonna need to cut that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
his type,
yeah.
beep, a white guy.
yeah, don't worry. I figured out how to do that in your guys' last session since
Yeah.
Elias kept messing up so many times.
So many times.
Yeah.
When
hard.
he tried to reveal Enrique's actual name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, what if we have the actual Enrique on the pod? Then what's going to happen?
We call him. No, just joking.
We call him the other name.
Then he'll be like Jose or something.
Yeah.
We'll never, like, just gotta
Enrique
keep people
never has his
guessing.
name.
If you can guess Temp Ty's ethnicity, we'll send you a free hat.
You get a free all ground hat.
Yeah. Today is a little different. Today we're going to do, Elias and I thought, how can we, kind of mix up the pod a little bit?
Dude,
And
don't give me credit, bro. It was all you.
okay, you're right. It was on me. This was my idea, but I thought of like a bi-monthly, check-in, a bi-monthly interview for each other. So I interview Elias, he interviews me. There's a lot that can happen in 6 months, and depending on what's going on in either of our lives, we could do it more frequently, but I think it'd be a nice little nice little time to kind of get to know each other a little more, or not each other, but for the audience to get to know us a little more, through questions that I can ask you, because I know you pretty personally, I'd say.
Yeah.
And
I guess
and you
do.
probably know me as well. So, yeah, I mean, I put together a few questions, and I thought, either we recap a little bit because we had a lot going on this weekend, and then we start the interview, or we do the interview and then we go into our weekly recap.
I think we should do a quick recap.
Okay.
Actually, that sounds good.
Okay.
All Ground Jiu-Jitsu had its first tournament or its competition debut, right? We brought our team out for All Ground's competition debut. It's a Grappling Industries Reno. And there's been a lot of preparation for this. We started talking about it at the end of November, and the tournament was February 1st, and Laird and I, being professional athletes, just we wanted people to feel over prepared, because a lot of them, actually most of them, it was their first competition. And I mean, it can just be such a huge adrenaline dump. It can be a totally different experience. But we knew that we wanted to make them feel almost overly confident, with preparation. And so we started preparing early. We understood who was competing. We got a list down, and then tried to hold them as accountable as we could. And just leading up to it, like, everybody was looking great. We were gonna have about 10 or 11 compete, and then 9 ended up showing up, which is awesome still. Yeah. I mean, injuries and sicknesses can happen, but the fact that we brought 9 was great. And I mean, probably the best outcome that we didn't predict, I mean, just being a smaller academy, a growing one, but one of the smaller ones, and this being our competition debut, didn't expect really anything other than a great performance from the athletes, because we knew, I mean, Laird and I obviously have competed our whole lives, and we knew that everybody that was competing was pretty much ready, and by our standards, like, ready to win. But I mean, the team just showed not only incredible heart, but beautiful technique that we've been going over every day at Allground, as part of the curriculum. And so I'm just so proud of the athletes and everyone that showed up to support them. And, the result that we got was we took first place at the tournament as a team, first place overall, which was a big deal. I feel like it kind of like, showed everyone else, like, Allground's here, Allground is here, and we are trying to build the next generation of, athletes in jiu-jitsu, and we're trying to do something different. And I think we showed that, after just being an academy for about 9 months now. And a lot of these guys, most of them, it being their first tournament, everybody just showed up with so much composure. There was, you could tell that there was a lot of preparation, and they shined, everybody shined. Couple guys had some tough losses, and really good learning experiences, but for the most part, everybody shined.
Yeah. I think we just, as professional athletes and, people that have been competing most of their lives, like, we both know that you gain confidence in preparation.
Yeah.
Like, you're not, the battles, the tournaments, the matches, they're typically won in the gym.
Yeah, before the competition.
Well before the competition even starts, because it's like, that's where you're going to do your learning. You're not, there's no learning to be done once you're out there. Yeah. Then it's just like, me and Elias are giving the cues or making people aware, but it's not the time to be like, hey, you need to do this. Here, let me show you something.
Yeah.
Right? Because that should have happened long before. Mm-hmm. And I think we did a good job at just creating just really good preparation leading up to this tournament for our team. And the guys that succeeded are the guys that showed up the most.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And that's it. The proof is in the pudding.
Exactly.
The guys that did the best at the tournament are the guys that showed up for every class. And even the guys that, had a tough time also showed up a lot, you know? Yeah. And the thing is they showed their heart, and it's, you're not going to win every match.
No.
We've also dealt with our fair share of losses, and that's just part of it. And that's everyone's journey is different. But I think the preparation was a huge confidence builder for people. And man, I couldn't believe the composure of some of our athletes.
I couldn't believe it. It was incredible.
Especially for their first tournament.
Yeah.
I mean, we definitely had a few standouts.
Yeah.
That wowed me as a coach. And
yeah,
going into it, there was no I want to win the team title.
Yeah, no, I wasn't even thinking about that.
In my mind, I just thought, I want these guys to have a good turnout. I want them to feel happy about their performance, whether they win or lose. Like, I want this to build
them up as martial artists.
And just feel like, man, this is such a cool journey that I'm on.
Yeah.
You know, as a martial artist, as a jiu-jitsu practitioner. And then slowly they just started to win and win and win. And I was just like, wow, this is, this.
And the way that they won too. I mean, Laird and I really emphasize a positional game. You know, like we emphasize, I mean, Temptai can attest to this. Like, so much of what we do in the academy is learning how to have a really strong base and dominate positionally. And the crazy thing is of all the wins we had, I did the math on this, but of all the wins, I believe we had a 77% submission rate of all of our wins.
That's amazing.
And that just shows like it really is position before submission, you know, because we weren't going over a ton of submissions leading up. Like everything we did was positional, and getting people prepared for the hard positions, you know, and where they needed to have balance and base. And just naturally they got to those positions and felt confident enough to just to get to their submissions, you know, and finish. And that was so cool to see, you know. Another thing I wasn't expecting, and also, you know, wasn't fixated on. I just wanted them to do well, really positionally, you know.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. We haven't really taught people a bunch of submissions. Yeah. And I feel like when you go to gyms, like that's what's cool to learn. You know, people like learning how to, you know, get an ankle lock or an arm bar, or, you know, jump into, you know, a triangle or something. People like learning that because it feels cool. But like when it comes down to it, like you said, what wins matches is strong position. Strong position.
The basics,
right? And
the
everyone
fundamentals.
showed that.
Yeah.
You know, and not to mention, like, you know, if we take Kolten, for example, one thing that we talked about all the time during our comp class is fight through everything.
Yeah.
Fight through everything. Do not settle for a moment. You know, because once you settle, that's the moment that they gain their points. So that's the moment that they, you know, gain a little bit of confidence in the match.
That momentum starts to go in their favor a little bit.
Yeah. And I think, like, if anyone took that to heart, it was Kolten.
Yeah.
You know,
100%.
because there was a lot of times where he was like, it almost seemed like he was dead to rights. Like, he's about to be taken down.
Yeah, he is about to get scored on.
This guy's gonna get points. And he just fought through everything. Did not give anyone an inch.
Yeah.
You know, he was like, I'm just gonna make myself as tired as possible.
Yeah.
You know, to make sure that I do not give up a score. And I don't think Kolten got scored on the whole tournament.
I don't think anybody scored any points on him.
I don't think so.
I think you're right.
Yeah,
Nobody scored a point.
Impressive.
Yeah. No one scored a point on him.
Complete shutout. That was amazing.
Yeah. And he got 2 submissions via armbar, which Elias taught him the day before.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was
he had
teaching
never
him
armbarred
armbars the day
people
before.
at the academy. He said he's never gotten one.
Yeah. I know.
And then
it's
an
crazy.
RNC for his first third submission, right?
I'm not sure. Was
he
it?
told me he got an RNC.
I think he got an RNC, but the last one
that's
was
right.
on.
He did. Yeah. Man.
And just to talk about that real quick, I mean, like the armbar in the final, like
Oh my gosh, that was
Kolten's
electrifying.
finals match was truly electrifying for a breakout performance like that. Like, I mean, just so much on the line. You know, one guy coming in hasn't lost a single match. Kolten coming in, and on paper, definitely the other guy should have won.
Yeah.
You know, on paper, like for sure. And for Kolten to pull out that armbar in the last 30 seconds.
So clutch.
And the kind of both teams were watching, so there was so much tension and pressure. It was so impressive. It was exceptional. I just kept thinking, like, after that, I just kept thinking, like, that was exceptional.
Yeah.
That was truly exceptional.
Yeah.
You know?
Ty and I were talking about most valuable player, MVP, like who, and we had so many MVP performances.
Dude,
you know,
for
if
real.
you think about it and you go back to everyone that won, like, man, we had some crazy MVP performances. Like, if I had to do a top 3, it would be Owen, Parker, and Kolten.
Yes.
You know, Owen specifically because no one in his weight class.
No one in his weight class.
At what, 180, 185? goes up to the table, says, I'll compete up a weight class. And they're like, well, we don't have anyone in the next weight class, so we'll put you in 230 plus.
There were some big boys in there,
230
man.
plus.
Yeah.
Owen steps in. And
Gi
he's
and
the,
no-gi.
Gi and no-gi. 230 plus. And Owen steps in, and he kind of starts us off.
Yeah, he
you know,
does.
He's the
first
guy
match.
that lights the fire for everyone.
Yeah.
And I think that was like a motivating factor. Like once they saw Owen go out there, and he won by submission within like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
You know? And I think that just kind of built that fire in everyone. They're like, all right, let's get this done. You know, it's a big deal to be the starter. You know, if you have been on a wrestling team, like the first person that starts out the match is big for the team.
It is, yeah.
You know?
And that's the one I was most nervous for. I'm not gonna lie. Even though I kind of knew, I felt like Owen was going to win that match. My heart was racing. I was like, here we go. Like we're in it now. Like Allgrounds first like, our Allgrounds debut in competition.
Yeah.
But thank God Owen let us off. And
And then he went on to, you know, win gold in the gi, submitted everyone, and then win gold in no gi, and he didn't submit just one person.
Yeah,
you know,
but
so he submitted pretty much everyone except for one.
yeah,
and then we talk about Parker,
dude.
which is like that might even be the most impressive because that guy. I mean, when he first came into the gym, I thought, holy shit, it's gonna take a while for
I was
this
like,
guy.
we got a lot of work to do.
We got
with
a
Parker.
lot of work to do with Parker, but he's just fucking grown exponentially.
Insane.
You know, and within the time, and I think it's just like his work ethic.
Yeah,
You know, his work ethic, and he's really taken to jiu-jitsu. You know, he's done a lot of sports. He's done wrestling, but
done football.
he has
done other things.
taken to jiu-jitsu, you know, and it showed because his first tournament, he was so dominant.
And so composed. So calm.
composed.
It didn't even seem like he was breathing heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looked like a veteran out there. For
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah,
He
he
did.
did. And it was his first tournament. He's been a white belt, like, you know, he's a one stripe white belt.
Yeah.
Two stripe. You know, it's crazy. And for him to go out there and dominate the way he did, like he's been a fucking blue belt for a while or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, like he dominated these white belts like he was a blue belt. You know, like he, you know, so that was super impressive. And then obviously
and
Kolten.
he submitted 4 out of his 5 matches.
Yeah,
I believe.
exactly.
Yeah.
And also won double gold.
Yeah, double gold,
You know,
gi
which
and
is
no gi.
amazing.
Yeah,
amazing.
and just oh my gosh, the composure from Parker, like it really just showed veteran status.
Yeah.
Even though he's a total beginner.
yeah, totally new to
man.
competition.
Yeah.
in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah,
And then Kolten, man, it's just he's
exceptional.
we
man.
kept saying like I kept telling him before every match like you have the clutch gene.
Yeah,
you
he's
have the
got the
clutch,
clutch
gene, meaning
gene.
like
He does.
Yeah,
he's
really
always
does.
been like that in every sport he plays. He's that clutch player. Like when the game's on the line, you want Kolten to have the ball. That's that's him.
yeah, and he fucking proved it, man.
Dude, he thrives in
Through
the
like
fire.
the grittiest matches. Like Owen and Parker, they dominated.
Yeah,
Kolten had some gritty matches and just came out with the win.
yeah.
You know, which was so awesome to see,
Yeah.
man.
I had a feeling that Kolten would have a great performance. I didn't think it would be that exceptional. I didn't think it would be that crazy. I mean, he blew my mind. But, you know, just, like Laird said, I mean, he just never gave an inch.
Yeah.
Like, never.
Take everything and give them nothing.
yeah,
right? He was
exactly.
just like right out of 300.
Yeah, dude. It was so impressive. Yeah, and then, sorry.
Adrian, his hip throw.
Dude. Yeah. Yeah,
That was
let's talk about the
really
rest of the
good.
guys here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Adrian had 2 matches with the same guy, but I felt like it was a good matchup overall.
Yeah.
Because the guy was threatening him on bottom a little bit, like putting in some dangerous Kimura traps, and Adrian just showed like very composed scrambling. Like he didn't get stressed out, even though some of those Kimura grips were super tight and a little sketchy. Like he just kind of rolled through, got to a front headlock. Beautiful execution of like an ability to scramble, and then incredible wrestling, you know, upper body wrestling mostly. Like he really thrived in upper body wrestling and just had like probably the takedown / throw of the whole tournament.
Yeah.
Just a beautiful hip toss.
It was the most spectacular for sure.
It was
Yeah.
awesome.
It was great.
It was so cool.
Yeah, I remember. I mean, he won the first match 11-0 against that guy.
Yeah.
And then you cornered him for that.
Yeah.
Going into the second match against the same guy, I was telling him, can I see a submission this time? Or just beat him more than you did the last time?
Yeah.
Like, do more than you did the last time. Right? If you can beat him, do more this time.
Yeah.
Right? You know you can beat him. You beat him 11-0. I want to see more out of you. And then he did. You know, he showed that. And he came out, hit the hip toss in the second match, you know.
Yeah.
Got up way more points, you know, and did he finish the arm triangle?
He subbed him.
Yeah, yeah.
And
With the
actually
he had an arm triangle. Yeah. So exactly what I asked for, and he went out there and delivered, and he went for it, you know?
Yeah.
And some guys won't do that. They'll just be content with the win.
Yeah.
You know, and that was satisfying, you know, and for Adrian to do that.
I felt like Julian was just like filming a highlight reel.
Yeah.
He was
kinda
so
was.
dominant. It was like an adult fighting kids.
Well, you know what is super impressive, and Laird and I have talked about this a bunch off the podcast, but Julian has never ever stepped foot on a wrestling mat ever.
Yeah.
Like, and he has just been showing up and listening to Laird, like doing exactly what he asks and absorbing like that wrestling knowledge and technique like a sponge.
Yeah.
And I love that. The one thing I love about not only like rolling with Julian, moving around with him, and watching him compete is he almost does it like textbook.
Yeah.
You know, like it's like some people overcomplicate it, and even when he meets resistance, like he still just does it exactly how you would want to drill it.
Yeah.
You know, and it's so beautiful to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I was I mean, we talked about this even before the competition.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't believe these boys, you know, started jiu-jitsu almost a year ago, you know, and like never wrestled before meeting me.
Yeah.
And like in the amount, like they could walk onto a high school wrestling team and be varsity and be probably, you know, do really well.
Probably do really well.
You know, probably even go to state. You know, like with Julian's technique and the way he performed and the way he went through things, like I was wildly impressed. And when you talk about him kind of like filming a highlight reel, that's what it felt like. And he's one of those kids, like every day he was asking to do more. And I told him after the tournament, I'm like, you deserved this, bro. You deserved this. Like you worked harder than anyone in this division, hands down.
Yeah, for
like
sure.
you showed up every single day. You know, when the MMA class was happening, he was there pretty much every day. You know, where like
after
then he would come to the night class for
and
jiu-jitsu.
after the evening classes, he'd be asking me. He's like, "Can we do sprints at the end?"
Yeah. He's always asking to do more. You know, he really took to wrestling too. Like on Tuesdays, our MMA class is strictly wrestling, and he loves those days.
Yeah.
And he even asked me, he's like, "Hey, can we do wrestling today? Can we do wrestling?" I'm like, "Yeah, fuck yeah, let's do it."
Everybody else hates it because it's so tired.
Yeah, it's such a great thing to fall in love with.
Yeah,
Because everybody does hate it. It sucks.
Yeah, and he showed that.
Yeah.
And then in that last match, I was like, it was clear that he was better than that guy, so I wanted him to do more.
Yeah.
So I told him like, "Hey, just get up, don't stay on top of him. Get up, try to pass, move." And he did. You know, he looked me right in the eyes. He got up, he tried to pass, he got another takedown. It was more like watching, you know, Penn State, you know, wrestlers versus some guys where I know at times when they're just dominating, they're just like, all right, I got to do more.
Yeah.
I just got to try stuff.
Yeah.
So I just wanted Julian to do that. I wanted him to get up and just go for things.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. He did it so well. And he, like the hybrid jiu-jitsu wrestling, like he always had his head in the right position. You know, he was never like, you know, setting himself up to get guillotined or countered on the way down. Like he showed also just so much composure in his wrestling.
Yeah.
We had Malik compete.
Yeah.
And I had a pretty tough match against that first guy. And the thing about Malik, and one thing I respect about him a lot, is that he had a pretty rough knee injury leading up to the tournament. And I think he got it like 2 weeks out or maybe it was bothering him. But even the last week, he really barely trained, you know, because I told him, I was like, you know what, you've done the work, just rest.
Yeah.
Like you're exactly where you need to be.
Yeah.
and you could tell the knee was bothering him, but the first round just executed beautiful technique, beautiful jiu-jitsu, like sort of a grueling match, but positionally did well, stayed composed, and eventually got the rear naked choke. Had a bit of a tougher match, but showed in the next round, but showed heart, still showed composure.
He almost got the heel hook. He came real close. It slipped out, but he was
the straight ankle lock. Straight ankle lock.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So just really proud of him. And I know that guy doesn't even like want to compete. I know that he did it because like he was trying to push himself. Yeah. And that's what's amazing, man. Yeah. Like the guy showed up to the 6 a.m.s, to the evening classes, is always like the first one there. Yeah. And even though like didn't really want to compete, like showed up and got a stellar victory in the first round, having a knee injury, you know. And he just showed a lot about his mentality, and I'm super stoked for him. And he should walk with his head held high. For sure.
And not to mention, like if you talk to him about his first experience competing, like most people would not even want to compete after that, or not, they'd just be like, "Yeah, I think I'm good. I just want to learn jiu-jitsu and train in the gym." But he was like, he took that and turned it into a different thing, and turned it into just building himself up. You know, and just beating that experience. You know, beating that fear, beating those nerves, and going out there and doing it again and doing it differently and succeeding. You know, and that's what's impressive about what he did. You know, and like some people will have an experience like he did in his first tournament ever, and they'll be like, "Yeah, I'm good. You know, I don't need to do that again." Yeah. You know, but no, he was the opposite. He said, "I need to redeem it. You know, I need to do better this time." Yeah. You know, and he did.
He did. He accomplished that. And he's just getting better every single day. Yeah. You know, he shows up, he puts the work in. He's a great team player. I'm so grateful to have him on the team.
Then we got Maz and Angelo.
Our newest guys for sure. Most green, and we're super excited to compete, which I love. Like very excited to compete, to get in. They both had a little bit of wrestling experience in the past, not much, but enough to know that they had that competition bug and kind of wanted to scratch that itch. And they learned, you know, like there's a lot. It's a lot different than just wrestling, you know. I mean, there's so much, you know, with the ground game and being stuck in tough positions. You could just tell, you know, the inexperience. But the one thing I loved about both of them is they just showed like so much grit. So much grit and heart, like the heart that you can't teach. You know?
Never gave up.
Never gave up. And there were some matches that we needed them to survive. We couldn't give up the points via submission, you know? Yeah. And they did, and they just fought valiantly. Yeah. And still, even with the result, still impressed me. And I know that this is going to be a great story for them in the future, because I see him winning and winning. And, you know, I had a similar experience when I first started wrestling. I lost my first 6 matches in high school, and that freaking sucked. Yeah. But yeah, this is ultimately going to shape them into better martial artists, and regardless, I'm super proud of them.
Well, it's like right out of the book, Jiu-Jitsu University, like the first lesson is survival. Yeah. And they both actually did a good job of surviving, which, like you said, if they would have given up the submission, that would have been more points awarded against us, and we may not have taken home the gold. So
I was thinking we were talking about that this morning, but I feel like everybody did their part, you know, in order for us to take home that team trophy. Yeah. You know, like it all happened exactly how it was supposed to. Yeah. Like some people had to survive, some people had to thrive, but it ultimately led us to number one, and I'm proud of everyone.
And the last person that survived and plus, you know, won a medal for us, 2 medals for us, is Jake.
Oh,
you know, and like,
Jake. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Fucking Jake. Yeah. Fuck this guy. You know, like,
yeah, that's right.
I saw him train 2 times leading up to this tournament. 2 times. If that guy just committed like 3 days a week, that tournament could easily be his. And he went up a weight class, and like, man.
Yeah, he did go up in weight. He weighed
Yeah.
155 and
Went up to 170.
Went up to 170 because we already had Parker at 155. Competed gi and no gi. Of all of his, so he went 3 and 4 in the gi, I believe, and submitted
3 and 4
in the gi.
in the gi.
3
Yes.
of 4.
So sorry, he won 3 of 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, he won 3 of
and
4 in
1.
the gi.
Yeah.
3 out of 4, matches, and submitted all of his opponents that he beat.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, super impressive. And Jake's trained with us, off and on here and there. But yeah, just never really been consistent. And we kind of asked him last minute. We were just like, because his brother Owen was competing, and we were like, man, you want to just hop in? Like,
Yeah.
we believe in you for sure.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
if anyone could do it, it's probably you.
Yeah.
He
showed up.
He showed up, man. Had a tough time in Nogi, but I think that was just because, like, one, he wasn't prepared, so he was way more exhausted.
He was
Yeah.
gassed.
He was so gassed.
Yeah.
But still showed tremendous heart. Beautiful technique in the first few matches.
Yeah.
I mean, just awesome.
Yeah, well, the guy that won gi and no gi at his weight class, God, he had Jake in the deepest arm triangle. I was looking at Jake's face, purple lips, eyes bulging out, and he just would not tap. I was like, bro, what, you madman? Just digging
Never
through
say
on that.
die.
I was so impressed. Even his opponent came up afterwards and he was like, how did you survive that?
Yeah.
He was like, dude, I was squeezing so hard. Like, how? What was
your
it?
head was gonna
How
pop
did you get
off.
out of that?
Yeah.
And Jake's just,
Dude, I don't know.
he just bit down and just
Yeah.
fought through it. Squeezed his neck as tough as he could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Oh,
the
man.
thing about the Carlson boys is they're just
Dude.
fucking tough.
Tough for just, why?
know.
What
They're just-
what gave him that?
They're just
You know, why
fucking
do they
tough
have that? They're
motherfuckers.
just tough motherfuckers.
I know. And so strong. Unassumingly
Yeah,
strong.
I'm sure like Owen going up 2 weight classes. I'm sure people were like, yeah, I'm fucking this little guy. I'm going to be so much stronger than him.
Yeah.
And then they feel him and they're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, this guy feels like a little tank, a little mini fridge.
Yeah. And I remember,
he's squirrely and he's strong.
Yeah.
Oh man.
yeah, he is stupid strong.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway,
Yeah.
that was
super cool.
our weekend. It was amazing.
Yeah.
So proud of the team.
So proud. It
And
was
you know,
awesome.
I hope that motivated everyone just a little bit more to like learn more, to get better, to get through those areas that they're struggling in, and to learn, learn how to be effective in those areas.
Yeah.
Well, I think I can speak on behalf of all of the students and just say, the results were, everybody had to show up, everybody had to put the work in, but you guys are, you need to get some credit. You guys are exceptionally good instructors. You focus on the right things, the fundamentals, the details, but you don't get lost in the details either. So like you get that perfect balance where, you drill the right things, where you don't just work on the sexy stuff, you work on the things people need to know, but you keep it fun at the same time. And so it's like the way that classes run at Allground is, I don't think it could be better, honestly.
Yeah.
You can only learn so fast.
Yeah.
Right? And you can only keep people so engaged. And if you can keep people engaged and have them learning at about the fastest rate they can learn, you can't do better.
Yeah. Well, our goal as coaches is to always be better for you guys as well.
I was going to
Go
say
ahead, Nate.
the pace of development for the athletes, I think, is due to, like, you can teach, you have to teach the right tools. So you have to teach stuff that actually works, but you also have to teach the right stuff at the right time.
Yeah.
And I was thinking that when you were talking about Julian's wrestling, you were talking about like how quickly he was developing as a wrestler.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about how, if I was going to teach somebody wrestling, it
Yeah.
would be so easy to teach like vacuous tools, or like I liked how you said, like not getting lost in the details, but
Yeah.
also not teaching dumb stuff that doesn't work.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's a big part of everyone's development. And I was supposed to compete.
Yeah.
And I'm bummed I missed it because it sounds like it was awesome. But I was surprised, honestly, when I was watching the Instagram stories, like the amount of dominance, and hearing these stories, like how dominant we were. And it makes me think that, like internally as a gym, it's hard actually to see development like individually as athletes,
Yeah.
because the tide for everybody's going up at the same
Yeah,
time.
yeah, it's true.
And it's so cool that in that room, like
Yeah.
where everyone's getting better at the same pace. So it seems like, oh yeah, like, you know, I know how Parker is. I know how Julian is. I know how Ty is. Like, you know, I know how all these athletes are. And like, I kind of feel like I'm in the same place relative to everybody.
Yeah.
But what's sweet is that's because everybody's showing
Getting
up all the
better.
time.
Yeah.
So there's not like one person that's getting worse and you're getting better than them. Like everyone's getting better.
Yeah. And
that's a really cool
the
point.
level of the room just continues to rise. It's so cool. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
so true. And like, you know, I think we're trying to build, you know, a sense of like, just like a family environment, like where these people that you train with, you know, these feel like your friends. These people feel close to you, you know, like them winning, you know, you want to see it badly for them because, you know, they're the people that you bleed with, you sweat with, you work hard with, you know, you everyone knows. I mean, we both know this, you know, you guys know this, you competed in wrestling and you know, you've competed in various sports, you know, it's emotional when you just put your heart on the line, you know, and when you give something your all and it's emotional, you know, no matter what the result, you know, whether you win or you lose, it's an emotional experience because you put your heart out there and you fucking work hard for it, you know, and like just huge shout out to the rest of the team because like people
everybody
showed up,
Yeah.
you know, that weren't competing and they showed up to support and they stayed for the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know, and they tried to watch every match they could.
Yeah.
You know?
I was thinking about that a lot. I mean, and speaking of putting your heart out on the line, like end of the tournament, we did our meeting, you know, with the team. And I kind of had to hold back tears. I was getting choked up a little bit, you know, because it's not just that we had a great performance, but it's just like the way, you know, that the families and the other students, the other members and people of the community showed up for us and just stuck it out, you know, until the end and just like showed so much support and just the way they did that, like it just, made me emotional, you know? And I just think about how much we've put into All Ground, you know, like from its birth, you know, and it's been hard at times, you know, like starting a business while also trying to be the best coach that you can be, the best friend that you can be, the best significant other, you know, like it's hard, you know, it can be difficult. And like this win from the team and everyone as individuals, it really was like, it just felt like well-earned, you know, it felt like we're on the right track, you know, and it was one of those moments where I'm like, it's all worth it, you know, it is all worth it. All like the lack of sleep, you know, like, you know, the struggle here and there. It's all worth it. It's awesome.
With all that being said, back to the drawing board.
Yeah.
Back to the old
100%.
drawing board.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just like,
Start from square one.
it's like, it's in the past now, you know, we celebrate it, but it's done and it's on to the next, you know,
Totally.
and it's just like, how can we be better next time?
100%.
Coffee break's over. Get back to work.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
It's like it's so cool because like milestone, you know, there it is. Like proof is in the pudding. It's tangible. We've got a team trophy. That's the milestone. That's so cool that we got there. But yeah, Laird's right. Like back to work, you know?
Yeah.
Like if you just celebrated it all the time, it wouldn't be worth it. You know? Now it's like, let's get back and let's keep doing what we did.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's the human nature. There's always a bigger goal. There's always something more we can do. There's always the next thing.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah. Yeah, and I just want to keep the underdog mentality. You know, and just
totally.
work hard as per usual, no matter what. Win or loss, you know. But yeah, I think that was a good wrap for the weekend. I mean, that was beautiful. I think I should interview you now.
All right, yeah, let's go. Do we
How
have
much
enough
time do we have? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're nearly 40 minutes in. We'll probably like
But
35.
you have a MRI.
Yeah, I know. I'll be good. It's right down the street.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I think we just hit a couple questions.
Okay.
Sounds
Yeah,
like
unless you're
snooze fest.
nervous.
Let's do something else.
Yeah. I don't have anything cool to say actually.
Yeah. Get prepared to learn a lot about Elias and how
Fuck.
stupid he is.
Shit.
All right.
All right. We're dropping in. Let's go.
Let's do it. This is my first interview, or me being the interviewer, and him being the interviewee.
Oh, yeah. That's cool. That's
so
fun.
You should do it in a Walter Cronkite voice.
Don't know who that is.
That's funny.
Who does he play?
Yeah, you probably would know Walter Cronkite.
He's
Yeah.
just a
Heard his
very,
voice.
very famous.
I
news
have
anchor.
heard, I've heard the name, but I can't
Walter
recall the voice.
Cronkite.
Okay, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I don't know.
Nate,
either,
do it.
So. Walter Cronkite.
Yeah,
That's
was
more
good.
Elmo.
Walter
No,
Cronkite.
that was good. I think that's Walter Cronkite.
You have my blankie?
Whoa, that was so good.
Cool. I thought you pressed something on that.
yeah.
That's crazy.
Okay, all right. Let's hop into it. Let's just go into the beginning.
Okay.
You know, like obviously, growing up, fighting in martial arts was just a part of the family. You know, with dad being a fighter and his history with jiu-jitsu and the Gracie family. With all that, like, can you recall any moments that you remember feeling like you wanted to be a fighter? Like the moments where you felt like, I want to do this. I want to be a fighter.
Yeah. I recall
Tell me about that.
specific moments. Well, I think when I was younger, you know, and would have some success in jiu-jitsu, I mean, that was really cool, but still, like, just learning so much about the world and, like, other things are important. And I don't know that was, like, at the forefront of my mind of, like, oh, I really want to be a fighter. It was just kind of always something I thought I was going to do. I didn't know that it was something, like, I really wanted.
Right.
You know? And I think one thing that really helped me is that first year of high school wrestling. Because
Really?
we didn't really wrestle. I mean, we wrestled a little bit as, like, you know, little kids, and then we were doing a lot of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And then our dad, he was, like, kind of funny at the time. He was like, I just want you to focus on jiu-jitsu and, like, you know, work towards MMA. And but yeah, we like wanted to do high school wrestling, and so yeah, that first year of high school wrestling, I thought I was gonna do great, but I ended up losing my first 6 matches, and just some of them were just grueling too, because I was just trying my best, you know, fighting, but I just, like, didn't have the technique, and I don't know that I had the mentality. And I think, like, as a kid, I kind of always struggled with, like, that pressure being put on me, just as the older brother, you know, the firstborn. I felt like I didn't do well with pressure. So if I wasn't winning, then I was super emotional. I was, like, crying, you know, about losses, because they felt like a lot deeper. And I think losing that first 6 and just, I feel like I needed that. I feel like I just needed to lose a bunch in a row and be like, and just think it doesn't matter anymore, you know? And then once I started winning, then I kind of kept winning, you know? I'd have a couple losses, and then I kept winning. And that was, like, that was one of those moments in that wrestling season where I was like, I want to be a fighter, you know? Because a fighter isn't just, an MMA fighter. Like, a fighter is someone that can persevere, you know, when you're down, and just, I knew after that, I was like, that's one moment where I wanted to be you know, a fighter, and that was really cool. You know, that taught me a lot. And then there's other moments as well. Yeah.
I mean, I definitely want to get into, like, the mentality, you know, of that time period too, but, you know, also sticking with, like, the childhood thing, like, because you and I had interesting upcoming with it.
Yeah.
And I know your relationship with it now, but I want to know kind of, like, what was your childhood relationship with martial arts? You know, like, growing up, even pre-high school, you know, I mean, and a little bit of that. Like, what was your relationship with martial arts as far as, you know, your childhood goes?
Yeah. My relationship with martial arts was just a part of me. It wasn't something that I necessarily, like, identified with, you know? It was just, like, I was born into it, so I did it. And I felt like I needed to do it really well, you know, because our dad was obviously a really well-established black belt, one of the first 12 Americans to receive a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. And then, I mean, I felt like there was a lot of pressure on me to just be good because he was good. And so I don't know that I had, like, a great relationship with it unless I was winning, you know?
Yeah.
But it was all kind of dependent on that.
Yeah.
And I sort of looked for other ways to like be valued as a kid. You know, I wanted to be good at soccer. I wanted to be good at skateboarding. I wanted to be good at other things other than martial arts because I felt like there was too much pressure on me, you know, and like, and I think maybe I didn't really realize that until I was older, until like the last couple of years of my life, you know, like looking back, you know, but definitely I remember feeling that. I remember feeling all the way up until, honestly, man, like up until like my early 20s, like I felt like I was putting so much pressure on myself constantly and just wasn't sure that it was necessarily like everything to me, you know, everything I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you mention a lot about like feeling like you needed to do it rather than being like something you really wanted to do. Like I remember as a kid, like it felt like to me, like wanting to like skateboard or, you know, dirt bike, like was more like of a want for us, you know, as kids, you know, and like you said, it was doing the martial arts was like a need. When you look back at that, like your young journey in martial arts, when you look back at it, do you feel like there was anything like you could have done more of now?
Yeah. I mean, I think it would have been cool if we wrestled a lot more too, you know, like I felt one thing I kind of felt like the thing I really enjoyed about wrestling is it separated us from the jiu-jitsu community, where I felt like I put so much pressure on myself because I didn't want to let my dad down. But now I was in wrestling and I lost those first 6 matches, but then like I had other coaches, I had a whole team that was behind me, and it's not like I was supposed to be great at wrestling, you know, I was supposed to be good at jiu-jitsu. And so I felt like you know, that was a really cool opportunity for me. And I kind of felt like I wish I maybe had done more of that as a kid, you know, just like more, maybe gone into like judo and wrestling and just kind of explored things outside of the family so that maybe I could like feel less pressure. And I'm thinking now, I mean, it's kind of, I haven't really thought about this so much since you asked me now, but like, if I have kids one day, I'm like, of course I want to coach them, but we started to learn so much when dad kind of like let us off, you know, and just said like, you guys got to go explore. You got to go find the best training. Yeah. The greatest thing he did was just give us a solid foundation, just an incredible foundation to go and learn everywhere and thrive. And then once we started I feel like once we started exploring, like I just sort of took the pressure off myself more and more, but it was always there. So I think like I mean you've talked about this, but wanting to get Lila and other kids that you might have just like into wrestling, you know, and I think that's important. I think it's great for them to like be outside of the family, but still have that coaching dynamic and still have that team around them. Yeah, it like it molds you and shapes you, and like I think in a positive way, especially when you come back to the home and you've got so much support, you know. But I agree. When you talk about like our childhood and like how dad kind of gave us the rein at some point, but there was a lot of stuff in between that, you know, before kind of like, I don't want to say relinquish control because, you know, we didn't necessarily feel like he had complete control. Like he was always very like, he always allowed us to explore and do other things and have like an open dialogue about martial arts. But, you know, when in those moments, just because I know and you know, there was a lot of shit that happened in between, like, you know, from being in Nevada to going to San Jose for the first time. So like in your childhood, like, was there moments where you felt most connected? And like, what were the moments where you felt most separated from martial arts? From martial arts? Yeah. I think, I felt most connected when like we were doing it together, you know, when like I always felt most connected when like, you know, sort of kind of funny, but like sort of outside of the mats, you know, like when dad would, you know, tell us to go run up these mountains, you know, as kids. I mean, even when I broke my collarbone, like a few days later, I was like running up a mountain because my dad told me to. And those are the moments that I I think, really connected to martial arts. We're like doing things off the mats with Laird, you know, and my dad kind of guiding me. And because I felt, I mean, I probably wasn't thinking about it at the time, but he was making me like just a stronger person. It's not like I was trying to get better at jiu-jitsu. He was just making me a stronger person, you know, and then doing it side by side with you. I was like, you know, always trying to be ahead of you because I'm the older brother and I wanted you to look up to me. So I was like always pushing myself. And yeah, I felt like in those moments, I felt super connected, you know, super connected as a martial artist.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and there was a lot of times where I felt, you know, connected to martial arts on the mats, of course. I mean, like I've always thought it was, you know, awesome to be good at jiu-jitsu and to go anywhere and for people to be like, oh, the Anderson bros are here. Like the Anderson bros are really good, you know?
Yeah.
And like, yeah, I've always thought that was cool. But
Yeah.
I think, you know, the mental side outside of it was what inspired me a lot as well. You know? And like dad would have us doing like yoga, you know, in the morning, and we would do yoga before practice, and then we would do breath work and meditation and little things, you know, here and there that were, you know, trying to make us better martial artists. And then I started associating like, you know, being a fighter with just being a better martial artist. And I think that helped me, you know, grow.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of people look at our upbringing, if they don't know, and they think like, man, they were always involved. They were always disciplined. You know, they were just, you know, jiu-jitsu was just naturally always in their life, or martial arts was just naturally always in their life. But we know that's not the case.
Yeah,
Like,
no.
we definitely got into our fair share of fucking dicking around and, and not doing the right things. Like, especially like when dad was back and forth between the Bay and here, you know, and we didn't really have like the hammer, you know, coming down on us as much. So like, describe that time for you.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, that was a time where I just felt like martial arts wasn't even important at all.
Yeah.
Like I don't even remember giving a shit about it.
Yeah.
You know, like I just remember wanting to smoke and drink and party and hang with our friends and just get fucked up and be out late and sneak out and do anything other than being a martial artist.
Yeah.
You know, and honestly, like that happened throughout our entire lives.
Yeah.
You know, like we've never had this like prodigal story, you know, where, oh, these kids are meant to be successful. Like, I feel like there's always been hardship. There's always been like setbacks and then we haven't always had the right surroundings, you know? So yeah, I felt super separated from martial arts, like during that time. And yeah, I mean, yeah, like I said, as a kid, like I'd try to go explore other things. And then, yeah, when we were in middle school, high school, it was just fucking off all the time.
Yeah.
And then even when we got to San Jose, you know, there wasn't like a lot of discipline on our end. I mean, granted, like, you know, our dad was guiding us, you know, to be better martial artists, but
I think, I mean, it seems like we were looking for what we had here previously.
Yes, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, we were looking for trouble, you know.
Yeah,
we were looking for, you know, like probably what would be considered like a sketchy group, you know, a sketchy group of friends that, you know, you could just do anything.
And didn't you say that like you worked at a yoga studio and that was like kind of a turning point for you?
Well,
yeah,
that's actually a great question, Ty, because that was my next one.
That's literally the next question.
And I think that's the question we should end on because I got to go here in a sec. But
okay.
I also would like to finish this whole thing through on the next episode because I have a lot of good questions for you.
We could even pause it and just pick up where we left off.
We could.
Yeah, maybe. Or we just go part 2 on the next episode. You know, I can post this one. That way there's a podcast
great.
for the week.
I love it. Yeah.
But yeah, I think, you know, what Ty said, like I know San Jose was a huge difference for us. And like,
big.
It was hard to find a bad community. It was like everyone was we were just brought into like good communities of friends and people that wanted to like do things. Not that we didn't find like, you know, parties and different things and drugs a little bit, but you know, like it was still like a better community as far as like personality. And I guess like what I want to ask is, what was that turning point that brought you back into focus, you know?
Yeah. Honestly, a couple of them. I mean, this was a real coming of age, you know, time in our lives. And I can think of a couple right off the bat. I mean, for sure, like when we started training at AKA Hillsdale at the time was like a separate location.
Yep.
But yeah, some big like oh shit moments where you know we're kind of from like a smaller area, beating everybody up, and now we're in like a way more popular,
Bigger pond.
yeah,
bigger fish.
big population, yeah. So yeah, I wasn't as good as I thought I was, although we were still holding our own.
Yeah.
We were still exceptional young martial artists. But yeah, that was a big learning experience to be like. And then I remember doing an MMA class and just getting taken down and thrashed around, and I'm like, how the fuck am I gonna fight one day if I don't even, like, I just like I just knew I was good at jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
I just knew I was a good grappler, and then all of a sudden we have gloves on, someone's shooting on me, then punching me in the head, then
and you just thought it would translate.
yeah, I just thought it would translate, and then I was like, I remember you and I went back and talked to Dad. I'm like, we fucking suck at fighting. We suck.
Well, if you had
exactly
like
what
started MMA in the early '90s, you'd have been great.
Yeah.
But things changed. It evolved.
They evolved, but what the crazy thing is like we were still doing that. Like our dad had us. We were in boxing clubs since we were a kid. We were sparring, and then we were doing kickboxing, and then we were doing jiu-jitsu, a little bit of wrestling, but everything was separate. And I think like what really. And so we could compete in those things individually, but it was the blending it all together that was kind of the hard part.
Yeah.
Like a slap in the face moment,
Yeah. I remember that moment walking away from it like, holy shit.
Yeah.
MMA is so fucking hard.
Yeah, because I was just like, if we just grapple, I'm going to beat you. If we just box, I think I could beat you.
Yeah,
But then like blending it all together, I was like,
Yeah.
fuck.
I remember being so tired. I was like,
yeah.
what?
You're trying to
Dude, I
submit
remember-
somebody and they punch you in the face. You're like, you're not allowed to do that. Oh, wait a minute, you are.
Yeah, I remember getting beat up and I got armbarred, and I was like,
Yeah.
why am I getting armbarred right now?
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was one of those moments that kind of lit a fire under me, and then we started training more and more together. After that, we were riding our bikes to the gym every day, like just Laird and I,
riding,
Laird and I were kind of back on the path. We were like, no, this can't happen, just that competition or competitive mindset.
Yeah.
And then I'll end on this, but just the last thing, or not the last thing, but another thing that helped me become a better martial artist was definitely like I got a job at a yoga studio, and the job itself wasn't like anything special, but I had the opportunity to do like a yoga teacher training with the owner of the studio, Jennifer Prue, and I was just humbled a lot. I was definitely exposed as like a young man that tried to use like humor and charm to just get through the world, and just super exposed. And that was just like, I remember like at that time in my life, I was just facing a lot of like harsh truths, just being exposed for the type of person I was, being exposed for, lying and manipulating and just, that was like the start of my like self-discovery, trying to be the best version of myself and trying to be a better martial artist. But to be continued.
To be continued.
Yeah.
Awesome. Sweet. We're going to finish that because that was fun.
Yeah, that was really fun.
And I need to get better at that.
I feel like you did great.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think you got a real future in journalism.
Great. Well, if you guys want to finish up, talk about whatever, or if you're just done.
I think we finish it here.
Yeah, I think this is great.
We can't go on without you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're too good.
Yeah, that's true. All right.
Alrighty.
All right. Later, guys.
Peace.
Bye.